Well, g'day and welcome to another episode of Lanark County Confidential. I'm your host, Michael Lynch Staunton. Lanark County Confidential is being broadcast to you on WRVO, well, Reno Viola Outdoors, WRVO Radio Network. And it's the first internet radio network geared towards the outdoors. So, there we go. Episode 26. This is the hard water fishing time. Boats are being put away. Well, Lanark County, pretty much all boats being put away. I guess not too many people are going to be out on the ice these days, or on the ice with a boat anyways. But anyways, so hard water fishing. What are we going to discuss today? Going to discuss augers, blades, gas, licensing, some equipment. Going to go through equipment, a couple of things about equipment anyways, and just where to go. I've seen on a couple of boards there like Fishhawk, a few of the guys have been out. Petrie Island's open, so not open, but Krabby Bay, that always freezes over early. Same thing, Long Island they're probably fishing on Long Island, and I'd heard some places like Constance Lake, it's got about 3 inches of ice on it. So after today, I'm not too sure. I'm doing this on December the 5th, so and it's warm out there today. Warmer anyways. All the snow's starting to melt. So one thing it'll do is it'll flatten everything out. We had some cold weather, and then it started to get, well, we might as well get into the first one because the first one is about ice conditions. So, and briefly, I'll give you an overview about how ice forms. I did this on my last one about ice fishing, but I think it's a good idea to go over it again. Ice doesn't start forming until it gets to about -4 or 5 degrees at nighttime. Reason being is because that's when the water will start to crystallize or solidify anyways. And I learned that from making maple syrup. Same thing in trees. During the day, the tree will pull the water out of the ground. And if it gets too cold at nighttime, the water has to go back out of the tree. The sap has to flow back out of the tree. So what'll end up happening is that water will freeze in the cells, and then the cells will explode, and the tree will blow up. Apparently, not you know what I mean. But that's what will happen. It's like the same thing if you put water in a container and fill it full and put it out. It expands. So it'll do that same thing in the cells of the trees. So that's why the sap flows. Anyways. It'll do the same thing in a lake or a river or well. As the water gets colder, it's going to have to go -5 type thing. Air temperature, obviously not water temperature, but anyways, air temperature has to go -5 and stay consistently below -5 at nighttime for a long period of time for good consistent ice to build. And I forgot the ratio that it'll build in. I think it'll do 2 to 3 inches at -5. So, if you have 4 or 5 nights of good, consistent cold weather, then, it'll start building ice better and better. Problem we had is we had a bunch of snow in between, so that sort of insulates the ice, and so it stays a bit warmer. Anyways, with this weather, it's going to go cold. It typically does. We're Canada, and judging by the summer we had, we're probably going to have a lot of snow, and it's probably going to be half decently cold anyways. So, but considering, because last year I think I was out later. I think I got up later in my boat than last year than this year. So anyways, that's a little rundown on the ice right now. Most of the boards that I've seen or places that I've looked at, there's ice on a lot of the lakes, but there's just not enough. When I was out about a week ago, so be safe. Bring something. Bring ice picks. I typically go out in my flotation suit at this time. just to make sure, because it's not worth it. So, anyways, so let's see what's next here. Next is going to be the. Anyways, if it stays minus whatever, if it stays freezing during the day, like it did back there for a while, it's gonna build ice really, really quick. So, but it won't be long. Anyways, so next thing, what I generally do is, or what I've done the last week, anyways, I pulled out my augers, took everything out of my ice. My little ice hut, or my 2-man clam, cleaned it all out and fired up the auger, fresh gas. I drain my gas every year. I don't leave it in there. I don't want it staying in there all year long. So, and I'm using premium for the ice auger. I'm using a Strike Master, and they recommend premium. I know in a few of the other ones they recommend premium as well too, or they have in the last few years. So the ones that I've serviced, any ones that I service, I generally tell everybody to use premium these days, just to avoid the ethanol issues. And generally the fuel sits longer as well too. Plus some of the motors are a bit hotter, so I think they were wanting to run premium as a general rule, because the compression ratio on the engine's a bit higher. So, anyways, so fresh gas, fresh and good oil. Some of the oils that they have for the gas augers these days has got a stabilizer in it. I generally run a stabilizer all the time in my fuel because of the fact that fuel starts to go bad, and it's I don't want to have an issue. I had an issue a couple of years ago with it. So I mixed 2 fuels together, and it was something I shouldn't have done, knowing better. But anyways, I learned. So take it from me, you don't have to learn, because this is what happens. So, okay, let's go on to the, we've done the augers. I get asked a lot about blades on the augers and stuff like that. If it's a chipper one, I forget how many holes they said those things can do. They can do quite a bit of holes, as long as they're treated properly and they're not abused and stuff like that. Yeah, if they're abused, obviously they're gonna. And by abuse, I mean dropping them on the ice, trying to knock ice off the blades and stuff like that. I'll spray the shaft with WD-40 every year, and I'll spray the blades with WD-40 as well too, or some kind of penetrating oil or whatever. That'll keep the ice from sticking to it when you're and the other thing too is it's not a good idea to let them sit in the hole after you've drilled a hole. A lot of guys will punch a bunch of holes, and then they'll drill a half hole, and they'll let the auger stand in the hole. It's not good. You can bend shafts, and that's very, very bad for the blades. So best thing you can do for your blades is, as soon as you finish the hole, put the guard back on. That's the best thing you can do. And depending on how many holes you do in a year, I have a hand auger and I have a gas auger. And my hand auger, about 3 years, because I'm not using it near as much as the gas auger. So, and I try to not let too many people use it, because it just takes one guy taking it and bouncing it on the ice at one point in time before. If I ever saw anybody do that, I just walk over to them and I ask them for $50 and, give me $50 and here you can have the auger. It's yours now. So, but, be careful. It's an investment. So be careful with it. And generally, if I'm doing a lot of holes, then I'll just go out and spend and on the hand auger, anyways, I'll get a brand new set of blades every year. On the gas auger, some to 3 years sometimes, they're pretty good. So, but I bought the kit to sharpen them myself. Yeah. There's nothing better. You can't do anything as good as the factory, I think, anyways. But so, anyways, auger. Yeah, another thing is I always bring 2 heaters with me. I have one of those. I have a little, I think it's a 1 or 2 pound propane tank that there's this little starburst heater that sits on it, and it'll, if it's minus 20 and blowing outside. this thing will heat the 2-man up in 5 minutes. Somebody showed me that a few years ago, and that's the way to go. Plus, I have one of those little catalytic Coleman ones with, you just spin a propane tank onto it, which is good for, the days. And it'll sit in there all day long and, just generally keep everything warm type thing. So I'll use that during the day, and then I'll throw the other one on at nighttime. So, you always want to be warm, so it's nicer than being cold anyways. So, I make sure my heaters are working properly. I've gone through all my rods and reels, pulled the line off that I don't want. My stuff is pretty much customized. I systemize it because, some of the stuff that I use for crappie that I use for ice fishing, so I've already organized it somewhat anyway. So, but the rods and reels, I'll take some of my reels off my ultralights and I use them for ice fishing. So I get all that ready as well too. The clown, I'll just clean it out and make sure everything's working properly and that it slides up and down and locks properly. Flasher is going to be charged, and my TV is going to make sure I charge it as well too. Just TV I don't usually use until we get into the season, because a lot of times you can just see right through the ice and you can see what's there and you can see the fish coming up and stuff. So it's pretty cool. One time we were doing we were fishing Long Island, and there's probably maybe 4 or 5 inches of ice there, I guess. And you could see the pike swimming around. It was pretty cool. So anyways, clothing, depending on how cold it is, it's not too cold these days, but I always wear a flotation suit. And I've got 2 pair of boots, so if it's not too cold, I got 1 pair of, they're like minus 40 boots. They're not really, but... and then I've got another set that are they're Baffin technology or whatever. They're called Shackletons, and they're like minus 100 degrees Celsius or whatever. And they're actually, you put them on and they're warm. So and I can stand out all day long in slush and crap and stuff. And these things are pretty good. And then at nighttime, I've never had an issue with them. I have a nice pair of wool socks that I put on and a pair of cotton socks underneath them. And I just don't have any issues with my feet anymore. I used to go out in a pair of rubber boots and 4 or 5 pairs of socks and and then sitting on the ice. Well, those are the days we were sitting on milk crates and stuff like that. Those were the days. So it's gotten I tell you, I stopped ice fishing there for a few years only because it was beating me up. I mean, we would be 2 guys on a hand auger. We'd do 20 holes together, and it was, after a while, you're getting older. I'm 55, so I'm getting older. So anyways, what ends up happening is you just you get tired of doing certain stuff, and so I stopped. We did ice shacks and stayed in guys' ice shacks for a bit, and but then I got away from it, and then now flashers and clams and nice rods, really nice rods, because what we were doing is they didn't really have great rods back then. So I was taking some of my ultralights and cutting them down and making my own rods type thing. So that's sort of where it got me into rod building. But anyways, I just want to I saw this on one of the boards, and I just wanted to give my opinion, just to let you know what I think. This has to do with flotation suits versus survival suits versus, this 2-piece, 1-piece thing. Some of the companies are coming out with they call them, it's just like a flotation suit. Reason being, because there's a lot of guys that want differences. They don't want a survival suit type thing. I have a Helly Hansen, and it's a severe weather suit type thing, survival suit type. Anyways, it's not really too bulky. It has a suspension system in it, so you can unzip the top portion down to your waist and walk around with that hanging all day long, and it's not really a big issue or anything like that. I also have a Mustang Bomber jacket with a pair of bib overalls that I use in the fall time, and that's a flotation. That's like it's deemed like it's your life jacket rating type thing. So, and I've jumped in the water with that, not in the fall time, but earlier in the season. And because it's 2-piece, and because of the way it's made, you get water up inside you. up through the legs, up through the arms, up underneath, the waistband and stuff like that. In a two-piece suit, in a biv overall with a jacket, the same thing's going to happen. You fall in the water. Also, that jacket may be a benefit as well too, because it may actually umbrella as you go in. But I'm not sure. It's all physics. We have to try it and see. But I will tell you that I've jumped in with my survival suit as well too, and you go up buoyant real fast. So it's. And I didn't get wet at all. And I guess the point is that I didn't get wet in my survival suit as opposed to a two-piece, which has no, seal between the upper and the bottom. You're going to get wet if you ever happen to go in the water. That's all I'm saying. So that's why I have I bought one for myself and for whoever I take out, or for my wife when we go out, because I used to go out in my Mustang, and then I thought about it one day, and I jumped in the water during the summertime, and I just, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. So I just went out and bought it just for my own sake. I feel much safer in it. I don't, even when I'm driving in the truck, and even if the truck went through, I feel much safer in it. And there's another one. There's another point. There's a point. Now I want to say this right now. And I heard this years ago, and it makes perfect sense to me. When you're driving on the ice in your vehicle, put your windows down. Put your windows down, put your windows down, put your windows down. Because if your vehicle ever goes through, you're going to get out of the vehicle through the window. So many times people can't get the doors open. They can't get the windows open because of the water pressure. And they don't have the sense to be able to break the window. So, just a safety tip anyways. We're going out of the water. Let's be sensible here. Nobody wants to win the Darwin Award. Okay. So, here we go. Flotation. I've done that. Okay, licensing. Licensing's obviously this is pretty sensible. It's that time of year. Everybody's license ends December 31st, so I looked at the other day, and Sean and Bennett's they've got their M&R thing up and ready, so you can go and get your license there. You can get it online. I got mine online one year. Actually, I got it online last year and the year before, which was really handy because one year when I got it, I went out and I left the piece of paper on the dash of my truck, and because I left it on the dash of my truck, I was the first guy to get checked in the group that we were with. Just happened to be that lucky. It was 11 o'clock at night or whatever. I mean, actually, it was a bit later probably. Anyways, and the guy pulled up in his snowmobile, and I thought he was checking my buddy, which was, about 5 or 6 feet away. And knock, knock, knock. And I was in my clam, and so, yeah, how's it going? And that's how immediate this thing is. I told him, I said, listen, I just bought it today. I did it online, but guess what? I left it in the truck. You want me to go back to the... He says, no, I'll check here. So he whipped through his thing, and he found it. He saw that I had it, and so I was lucky at that point. So that just goes to show that how technology has advanced. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things. Like, that's actually one of the reasons why I've gone back to ice fishing is because of the technology that it's advanced. The flashers are. I was taking my X55 and modifying it, and back then Lowrance had a little portable pack. And then a couple of years later, they came out with an arm that you could put a petroleum motor transducer on it, and you could hang it off this pack. And so I was doing that for the first couple of years, and just using the flasher on the X55, and that worked well. And we realized that the crappies were actually coming in. They were sitting at the bottom during the day, and then as the sun was going down, they were coming up off the bottom. Like and I didn't realize that until we put the flasher on, because we'd be catching them at the bottom, and then all of a sudden they would shut off, and then all of a sudden we'd start catching them suspended, and then, they were moving around, or a different school, or whatever. So we thought they were. Yeah, the reason why we thought we were moving around because we were drilling other holes because those holes shut off. So, but what was happening is they were feeding on the bottom, or they were sitting on the bottom, and then as the sun was going down, they would lift off as everything would lift off. It's pretty interesting because I didn't realize this until I put the camera down. And I was watching reading a Dave Gantz article about how he moves his jigs and stuff like that. It's how he pounding it, he calls it. And it's true. You got to get a camera down underneath the ice at nighttime and just watch the amount of activity that's going on. And this was in Mississippi Lake I did this. And the amount of little protozoan, little like shrimps or whatever they're called. Remember, like this was in science. And you're looking through your little microscope at the drop of water, and you can see the parameciums and the amoebas and stuff like that, and all the ciliads and stuff. But what that told me is that whole body of water is alive at nighttime. All this stuff was around and moving and pulsing and everything. And that's what Dave was saying. He was saying all this stuff is moving around and pulsing. All their food is moving and undulating. And so for you just to sit there and not move your jig, and that's what he said. He said a lot of people will sit, as the fish will come in, they'll start to slow their jig down, and they'll wait for the fish to come in. And the fish will come in and he'll take off. And instead, you guys sort of got to keep doing that and keep doing it and keep doing it, and make it look as if, because trust me, if you were a little microscopic amoeba or a seal, or like a shrimp or whatever they're eating, and a big fish comes up to you, the last thing you're going to do is sit still. You're going to do one thing: you're going to screw off, or you're going to get going out of there. You know what I mean? You're not going to just sit there and play possum, because he's going to eat you if he's so inclined. But if he's not, then he's just going to ignore you because you're not natural looking. So typically he thinks that you probably should either stay pulsing, okay, because that's what they do as they're moving around, or they're going to take off because they're going to get eaten. And, obviously they're going to get eaten. So where am I going to fish this time of year? I'm looking at what I can, basically. Mississippi, for one, is going to be, I heard that a couple places they've got 3-4 inches of ice. You got to watch in a couple places as well, too. But, the bays obviously are going to freeze over first. So whatever bays that you can get close to that have got some good weeds. What I do is in November, I look around for still emergent weeds. That's what I was doing all November, is looking for the green weeds that I could find in the lake, because that's where I'm going to fish first, because that's where I know the fish are going to be still. So that's what you want to find. So, but if you know the lake well and you've done it year after year, there's going to be a couple of bays that, are going to be good, just as the season starts, as the ice comes on. So, Constance Lake is obviously something that is going to freeze over real quick, most people just fish it out right from the dock. I like to go right down to the creek and fish it in the creek, but that's only because I like to fish down there for the crappies down there. But like I said before, the locks at Long Island. I also heard that Petrie, obviously at Crappie Bay and Petrie, is frozen over. Probably, like whatever lakes are shallow and whatever. The temperature is going to be cold enough to make sure you're going to have consistent ice and stuff like that. We used to start consistently, usually mid-December. You got to remember, as I got old. This global warming thing, we had a trend there where we didn't get ice on until end of New Year or beginning of New Year. So, but I remember beginning when I started ice fishing, we were on Long Island mid-December, a couple of years. So but be careful, be very, very careful. Get a spud, check the ice every 10 feet, and pick up your garbage. Anyways, so what I want to say now, I want to have a Facebook contest. And the reason why I want a Facebook contest, because I want to get a bunch of likes, and I want to give away some stuff. So I got a couple of custom rods I want to give away, and I want to give away fishing day on my boat next summer type thing, or maybe spring or whatever. But just to get to know some of my listeners and to give back to those guys and girls that want to just sit and listen to me drone on for half an hour so often. Anyways, the contest is really easy. All you have to do is go to Lanark County Confidential on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook these days, aren't they? I would imagine they are. Anyways, go to Lanark County Confidential on Facebook. Go to MLS Custom Tackle on Facebook and like both of them. You have to like both of them. You can't like one of them. You have to like both of them. And what I'm going to do is from the ones that I get that like both, and this is going to go from now, like this. So this is December 5th. This will go to, say, March 5th. So we're going to make it, a while. Probably going to be a flipping or a flipping rod that I'll give away as well too. Maybe a spinning rod, depending on if you're a spinning guy. Well, then it's a spinning rod. If it's not, if you want a flipping rod, then I got a couple of flipping rods I got to give away, or I got to get rid of anyways. But we'll do a giveaway anyways. So here's the rules. The rules are simple. Go to Lanark County Confidential on Facebook and like it. Go to MLS Custom Tackle. That's ML-S Custom Tackle on Facebook and like that one as well too. Also go to Reno Viola Outdoors and like that as well too, because I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Reno's a real nice guy. Gotten to know him well over the last little while, and it's been cool. Anyways, so I think we're just about done this one. I don't have anything left over. I want to make sure that I'm not under his time this time because I wasn't last time. So there we go. My website, I got a website for both my business, MLS Custom Tackle, and Lanark County Confidential that are under construction. Hopefully by the end of this month we'll have both of them up. So you have some info there and some pages to look at and some videos and some cool stuff anyways. And a way to get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me, email info@lanarkcountyconfidential.ca, or we'll figure that out later. Anyways, today's show was brought to you by MLS Custom Tackle at 1558 Richmond Road, Franktown, Ontario. If you pitch or flip a jig or throw a jig or fish a jig, I could probably help you out. I got enough gambler tackle here, or gambler lures and jigs and stuff, and plastics that you need anything, you can get it. So anyhow, appreciate being with you this week. I want you to come back next week again, and take care. Have a good week.